It's April 14th, 2018, and we are experiencing a bit of a blizzard in Minnesota. What to do? I thought about sitting out at the cabin for a while and just kind of watching it all take place. Maybe I could just be in the snowstorm, become one with Mother Nature. Maybe I'll stay inside and just practice my billiards. Or we could stay here in the plant room and work on a bonsai. Hey everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. Miserable outside, absolutely miserable. It's the 14th of April and it's probably the worst blizzard-like snowstorm we had all of the 2017-18 winter season. So instead of worrying about yard work, I get to do my number one passion, which is bonsai. Watch a lot of Nigel Saunders, Bonsai Zone, and he has all kinds of different plants. What I like about Nigel is he shows all kinds of different plants for bonsai. Some very non-traditional things. So just goes to show you that it's all kind of beauty in the eye of the beholder and bonsai in the eye of the beholder. If you see something that you might want to try as a bonsai, just go for it. And I've taken that mantra on as well, I guess. And I do like some of the succulents, big succulent craze the last few years. And I've always liked the jade plant. And so I have some common jade here. This in a very nice pot, trainer pot, and still a nursery pot. And very slow growing so far everywhere that I've put them. I have LED lights in my plant room. I have them outside in the summertime. And just not fast growers according to my, well, year or so research so far. These are about a year old. And today I'm just going to do some pruning because, you know, in the bonsai world, we're looking for small trees, small replicas of larger trees. Some of these have been growing pretty good of late, but they got super duper big leaves up on top here. Got some great big growth right here, huge leaves. Twin trunk style right here, shaping out into a kind of a Y pattern actually, or a V. This actually looks, this is more of a true trunk because both trunks are below the soil level here. This one splits right at the soil level. So as you can see, I chopped this one down fairly recently, and I chopped them down to about a little less than an inch and about 3 inches, and you can see what it's done since then. So definitely growing, and I'm going to get a split into 2 trunks here, there and there. And then this guy, another one trunk that's split into 2 halfway up, and I've got some more growth. I'm trying to get some branches to go out on these guys. Very slow going. They want to grow up, and they seem to ramify up, but not out very often. So once you get some movement, eventually it's super nice. So this guy right here, this branch right here is kind of at an angle, but will this branch slowly turn into, or leaf I should say, turn into a branch? There's some lighter coloring down here, which looks like it's going to become more maybe elongated like that. And then I would have a branch growing this way, and I could cut this thing off. Or I can cut this thing off right here today and hope that this big leaf turns into a nice branch going that way. So that would be directional pruning, making sure we're cutting things to go the right direction. My debate with my jade trees is if I want to make a little jade forest. And one of the reasons why I'd make a jade forest is, okay, I've got pots I could do it in. I just got some training pots. So this pot would be a downgrade from this beautiful pot here on the outside. Beautiful pot right there. Upgrade on this guy, and about the same for this guy, but this one could allow me to put all 3 in here. When we do bonsais in a forest type or clump style, multi-trunks, we usually want odd numbers. What I've been reading, what I've been told. So we're going to put 3 in here. Well, there's 1, there's 2, and then there's 3, 4 if this is a double trunk. So that would be 4, it'd be a little odd, but I can see if that little one is attached to this one, and we can maybe raise it up a little bit to show the split. Or I just take this little one and put it back into this pot and just grow with the 3 bigger ones. So As always with bonsai, some decisions to make. The most vigorous growing one is in this pot. I think it's been closer to my LED lights. And of course, if I did a little smoosh motion like this with some wire, now super soft trunks right here. Only there's a little bit of woody part on this bottom part. There's a little bit more woody part here as well, and you can see some here. It gets a little darker and almost like our a more wood-like structure, but very, very light green up on top and some dark green in the bottom. So we have to be careful when we move stuff here. But one thing that worked, I saw someone coming to a workshop recently, is they put a wine cork right here and here. And they maybe cut it so it would fit right in there. If there's enough pressure, would it stay there without breaking the branch? And then it starts to make those grow outward. I'm not getting this guy to stay with this cork right now, but I do have this one in another one of my bonsais. So if I were to take it here and go like that, would it stay? It's not cooperating right now, but you get the picture. I'd cut a little slit in there and make these things stay way out like that. It's not going to do it right now, but it's an option for us. So I like that this tree has two branches growing right there. Very nice, growing up tall. This one could be jetted out to the left side here, your left, my right. I could wire them a little bit or put something in between here to make them grow that way. I could cut this entire branch off right here and just so it definitely grows that way. We have nothing in here for ramification. It all starts to go up here. And as I show you this right here, there's two more leaves growing right there out of the center. So this is a tree that likes to grow, or a plant that really likes to grow, ramify from the top and keep growing up taller. I'm hoping some of these other branches will go left or right. These guys right here, I'm getting some thickness and they're growing straight out. If I cut it up here, will this one grow out? This one down here hasn't done much here. So, I'm not sure how I want this to look. I also will make sure that no spot on the tree are there two branches coming right out from each other. So on more of your deciduous trees and your pine trees, you're going to get some maybe bumping there where you could create some reverse taper. Not so worried about that with this jade plant, but do like the every other style with branches, so your eye just kind of follows it up the tree, and so we get rid of most of those branches that are completely right opposite of each other. This little one I could just literally leave alone and let it keep going, but you notice how this branch here is imbalanced from this branch here. This one took its sweet time to grow, this one took off, so really all I'd have to do is cut this one up here. They'd be a little closer in size, and this one might do some catching up. So I am going to cut this one off. I'm going to for sure cut it off right here. Get rid of that. Normally when I make cuttings, I keep my cuttings. Today I'm not going to worry about that. So that right there could probably be just fine. This side, it looks like a taller version of this side. They're a little bit closer. This one's not so top heavy. These two I will leave for right now. There is one nice opposite one here, so what I could do is get rid of this inside one, or I could get rid of this. If this is the front right here, I'd get rid of this one so these two fan out back here, and then I have to work on that in the future. If this is a front, well then I have this kind of as the thing we're looking at. That doesn't look quite as nice. But I'd probably get rid of this one then, so you have kind of the every other this way. So it all depends upon how you're going to put it in the pot. Since I don't have it in the pot yet, I'm not deciding if I'm going to do a forest yet. We'll put this one off to the side for a moment. That one's been trimmed. This one looks well balanced right here. It's not terrible in any way. I do like that this branch right here is growing sideways. This is the first real branch growing sideways on any of my jade trees, really. So that's really nice. And then this guy right here might start going that way as well. And what I can do is I can cut this one off right here to make this one more prominent on this side. That's if that's the front that you're looking at there, which it probably would be because it curves more towards the front. So you're looking at the front right now. So when you cut the jade branches off, you don't have to cut all the way to the stem, because this will now die off, harden up a little bit, and then you can literally flick it with your finger and it'll come right off. So as I bring this one back into sight, this guy right here, I do not have to cut all the way down. I can stop right there. That's good. And then that's going to get hard, and we're going to be able to pop it right off. But I don't want to do that prematurely to damage these trees. I could go a little lower if I want to. It's just going to harden off anyway. That looks a little bit better, so I'll just leave it like that. So again, you're looking at that front right there. This one's kind of growing out to the front. This one now is growing out to the front. If I can lean it someday, that would be great. I don't know if this is going to grow out or not. I'm probably going to leave that one there. And then up top, again, whenever we prune, we want to prune directionally so we can make it grow the way we want it to grow. I don't want so many plant leaves going forward, so I cut that one off. Now you can see the line of the tree a little bit more. And then it was the opposite of this branch right here. So if I go every other, here and here, I have to pick one of these that I would branch off. I probably want this branch to continue to go to your left, my right, so I would cut that one off. And now I have this one back here for a little depth, and this one's going straight out this way, and then these two are branching off and might come up this way. Gives me some nice ramification of these branches, and we'll see what they do. And then as far as the top branch that's left, and if you can see that, but I've got two little ones growing right there. So we have this one opposite this one opposite this one, and these two will be opposites. Again, I can directionally prune. I probably don't want this one in front where you're looking at it, so I would take it off there. And then I have to decide, do I want this one or this one? Well, if I want this to be highlighted over here, I might want to keep this going this way, because this right here will just kind of come over and hide these guys, so I would cut this one off right there. So that's my decision on what to do there. Now if I cut this one off right here right now, these two little ones would probably grow in its place and then make its movement, and I would figure out which one to save later. For right now though, I just want to see what it's going to do. I've got my tree, nice little lines there. My only other decision to make is this guy right here. Again, do I get rid of this one because it's staring you right in the face? Because these two right here will split open apart right there and give it some texture. And this one could grow taller, or I cut that one off. You can't see this one back here as much. And I think I will do that. I want to get rid of that one because it just cleans it up. So I don't like that these are huge leaves, especially compared to these two. But these two here right now are going to form possibly a branch that'll go out that way, and then I'll cut it off later. I'll trim these off as these become a branch if they do. If not, maybe these two will become branches, and we'll just wait and see. So I think that one for right now is all I need to worry about. So 2 down, 1 to go, and there's this guy. And again, it depends upon if I'm going to keep him in a single pot here, or am I going to put him into kind of a mini forest. I think the front of this tree has always been right there as you're looking at it. And I do love this Y up here, and I love how this one has some curve to it. You can't see the curve as much because it's coming right at us. But again, if you do look at this, this is kind of clouding up your view a little bit. It's too thick up there right now. It goes towards you. There's a whole bunch of leaves. It completely hides the one back here. So there's where if you get a little bit of split right here, wouldn't that be a nice little ramified tree? It looks a little bit better than all clumped like this. Again, I could wire this a little bit, but I have to be very careful because this is very soft and it would make marks very easily. So I want to be. This one has a little bit more woody material up to about here, so I could wire it and just bend it just a little bit this way. Again, like the other two, very top heavy. Even when you move it around, you can just see how top heavy it is. So I have to figure out which ones I'm going to cut off. Now, interestingly enough, I've got a third little branch right in here. So you got these two opposing each other, and I got this thing right here growing. I'm not sure why that guy's growing. He's just growing right out of the middle of the trunk. But he's growing longer and looks less like a leaf. So I don't know if that could be a branch down the road or not. If I cut these two off, it just makes it longer and skinnier. So I have a couple of options. I can cut it down here, anywhere here, and where you see these rings right here, definitely going to be some buds down the road if we cut. We'll get growth from right here if I cut it off. And then I would have hopefully growth that would be opposite of these two guys, and then you just it keeps growing. So I've lost a little ramification in this midsection, so I either have to cut it all the way off or wait a while and come up here and see if I can get any of these branches to grow further into some ramification. So I do not know. Right now this branch is the same height as this branch. This one has the nice height, which also keeps them from being all, you know, the same size. If I were to cut this down, I would cut this one lower than these two so we have a little bit of more movement in here. Or maybe I cut this one lower and leave this as the new apex right here and cut this one down here like I said. I do like this movement way over here though, so I do like that. And if I do bend it more this way, these branches could maybe develop and grow a certain direction. So I don't know if I want to cut this tall one off quite yet. I am going to go ahead and cut this one off right here, right away. And I'll tell you why I did that. Again, if you can look at this branch right here, this branch has a branch going this way, and then this one goes this way, and then these two go this way. So I cut this one off here because it was branch. And now I go here to here to here, or I could even go here to here to here like a spiral staircase. So I'd have to decide which one of those two I would pull off next. And at this point I'm not quite sure which one would be the best. Generally I'd probably take away this middle one so it opens up the center a little bit, let some more light in there to get some more possible backbudding in other kinds of trees. I just don't know if the Jade is going to respond the same way. So this guy right here, I got one opposing from the other. This one is coming off this way and this one goes this way, so I naturally, my first instinct is to go here, and I think that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. So now I've got one over here and one over here, and then the next one will be over here, so that means this side comes off. And I really hope this one will go more as a branch and not just be a leaf or one of these guys. So now I got down here, over here, over here, over here. It's the every other pattern, and I'm going to wait till these get a little bigger to see what they do, to see where I want to cut them off. I could cut this one off as well and just let these open up, and that wouldn't be too horrible either. But I think I want to wait just to see what it's going to do and where I might wire it if I wire it. Because this would be nice as a leaning tree wired off over here if I could get it to do that. And if I did that, that might change my next cut. So I'm a little apprehensive. If I do go this way, this could become the new apex. So you get some curve in here, and you cut this right off here and hope it grows that way. I think I'm going to leave it for right now, because I have to decide next if I'm going to go ahead and leave them as they are, or go ahead and do a forest. Because a forest would look something like this, with the tall tree up front, some back trees like this. Maybe you'd look at it like that. So right there is a decent forest, in that this is the tall one, and then it comes shorter here and shorter here. It's got your nice round kind of foresty look with this right here. This one I might have to turn this way, or again I cut this one shorter than here, but I don't want to do that because of this nice split. But it still has a nice little look to it, right, like right here. Pretty decent forest. If I put this back here, put this a little bit over here, not too bad of a forest look. Little depth of field, and I got my trees growing. And the question is, would that all fit in the pot like that? Alright, we're back. So I haven't seen a lot of my bonsai trees, I don't think, suffer from overwatering yet. Maybe a little bit. One of the things when you get your soil, this is a shipment from the Minnesota Bonsai Society. We got pumice, akadama, and lava rocks. And this is my smaller size that I'm going to put in for these smaller roots that don't get very big and don't go very deep. And I'm going to use this and try this a little bit smaller mix than what I used last year. I used more of a medium mix, but what I didn't do is really sift out my rocks. I just got a sifter recently, so now I have more consistent rock size. So I've got the big ones on the bottom for some good drainage. And we're going to go ahead and put most of the soil in there. Now the reason I can put most of the soil in there is because, again, these trees don't have a ton of root system. And so I don't think I'm going to be able to wire these in either, because the roots just aren't big enough to wire these in. So I'm going to go ahead and move this aside, and I'm going to get rid of the bonsai soil I have in here. We'll start with that. Just gonna gently get some of these first rocks out of here. And this is all pumice and lava rock. No akadama in here, but pumice and lava rock. And we're gonna see how much the root system actually did take off in this tree. Now, I have not seen a lot of deep roots yet in these jades. But it looks like there's a fair amount of roots in this system, so that's good to see. That means it's going to be healthy. Might be able to recycle a lot of that soil. No organic material in that soil except for whatever rocks we have from here. Okay, so normally I use my bonsai rake. This is all, again, pumice and lava rock. I'm going to use my blunt chopstick here instead. And this is the most roots I have ever seen on one of my jades, so I'm very, very happy at this growth. Probably why it's the healthiest. It's the tallest of the three. This was a common jade purchased at, I believe, a Bachman's nursery a little over a year ago, 2017, I believe, last year or so. Has a nice little L-shaped root here, as you can see. I could actually cut these roots off and make a fun little tree that way too if I wanted to. So getting some of these big rocks off of here, and then we're pretty good. Now that was just under the soil, so if I wanted to, I could put a wire right around this part of this trunk right here. So this might have been a tree that was growing like this at one point, and I put the root so it would be a little bit more this way. I will cut some of that root off. Don't need a very sharp instrument because, again, these jades are very, very soft. There you go. Now, there's a good chance that that cut right there will produce more branches through the roots and grow another part of the tree. We could have a triple trunk tree, which could be kind of fun later on. Alright. So I don't want to cut too many of these roots off, but we got a couple of danglers here. So I'm just going to go like that. Sorry for going so high there. I forget that for me to see high, you're not seeing anything. So there's tree number one. Now if you were holding this in your hand, you'd realize how top heavy this is. Wants to flop all over. That's not a lot of root structure to keep it down. But because I have this L shape here, and if I put rocks over that, it's going to take and it's going to hold in pretty good. I do have one decent sized root right in here that looks really nice, and there's a couple of thicker ones here growing too. So for the first time I'm seeing on my jades thicker, more potential growers for some main root ramification here. That's really nice. I'm really glad about that. So they're doing some good growing here. Even got one right here that I just kind of untucked. Try to lay that one out to grow a little more flat, because we always want that ramification of the roots as well. So laying down flat, that looks kind of good. And again, we could get a third trunk here and develop it into a triple trunk style someday, apart from the forest. So then the question becomes, where will it be in this new pot? This one's going to be more front and center, because the other trees will be secondary in the back. So I'm just going to push it down into this soft soil right now. We'll go down a little bit, and it's going to go somewhere right about there. So this has more roots than I expected. I might be able to wire that down to keep that nice and sturdy. Welcome back. Sorry I cut you off for a little while there, but I didn't push record on the camera, so you didn't see the last few stages of me putting this thing together. So I did put all three into the one rectangle training pot. I got that nice big one up front, and I've got those two sticking out on the side here. I did cut a couple of extra little leaves that I didn't want. But I'm going to leave it right here and take a peek at it for the next couple of days, couple of weeks, couple of months, and just kind of see what happens. With this weather outside, it won't be outside for several weeks, but it'll stay nice in my plant room, and we'll see what happens. So there you have it, a little jade forest, and it worked out pretty good. For Dave's Bonsai, I'm Dave Weiss, and we'll see you next time.